Hello and welcome to the first edition of It's a Better Life. A Better Life is a show dedicated to helping you have a better life, whether it's in your finances, your marriage, things that you need to know around Baton Rouge to make your life easier. Over the next few years, hopefully we'll delve into things that you'll say, you know what, I've got a better life because of that show. Today we're going to have several guests on, and we're going to get started with a guy by the name of Marc Cook. Marc Cook comes with us. He is with the Cook Financial Group, and he's going to be talking, I bet, about finances. Wouldn't bank on it, but I'd almost bet that. Welcome to the show, Marc.
Hello, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Marc. Where are you from originally?
Originally from Prairieville, Louisiana.
Wow, that sounds like a metropolis.
Yeah, it took me a while to get here, but we made it.
Yeah. All right, so you was born and raised there?
No, I was actually born in Mississippi.
Mississippi.
And then about 2 weeks after I was born, my family moved to the Prairieville area.
So you've grown up there?
Yeah, grown up there.
I'll tell you. So tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get into finances and things of that nature?
Well, I was actually working in television at the time, and I had a friend of mine that was in the financial arena, and we were talking one day, and he said, I think you'd be very good in the financial arena because you know how to handle certain things. And he said, why don't you take a look at it? So I did, and one thing led to another, and wife and I sat down and said, I think this is a career change that we want to make, and that was about 15 years ago. 15
years ago. Yeah. Well, you've definitely seen a lot of changes in the financial market in the last
Yes,
15 years.
Absolutely.
History shows us that America definitely peaks and valleys all the time, from the Great Depression all the way forward. What are you seeing right now as the number one trend in in the finance industry as far as banking rates and things of that nature? What do you feel it is that's good for people watching?
Well, right now, one of the main concerns that all of our clients have told us is that we want to make sure that the monies that we do have and the gains that we do get, we want to retain those, and we want to be able to take what we have and be able to receive a paycheck for life off of the amount of monies that are there to supplement what we're getting in from Social Security and other investments.
That's a tall order. I mean, over the past 3-4 years, we've seen people lose their entire inheritances, or not inheritances, but their savings, their investments, and everything. What is a good plan to try and rebuild for those people that have lost everything in the financial market?
Well, what I tell people all the time is you have to have the right vehicle. When it comes to the market, people will look and they'll see that the market is up and they'll get excited about the gains that they have. And a lot of times what I tell people is that that's just a simple paper gain. That's not reality, because it's not a matter of if the market is going to go down, it's when the market goes down. And so if you are in the proper vehicle when the market does go down, you may not make any interest during that year, but you'll retain the gains that you created the year before because they automatically lock in. So, when we have market times where it's down from 2000, 2001, 2002, and then 2008 and 2009, our clients coined a phrase, and that phrase was, a zero is a hero, because during those times, our clients didn't lose any principal or any interest that they had gained from the previous years.
That's a miracle in itself.
It's all about using the right vehicle. Wisdom is key. Mm-hmm. Knowledge is powerful. If you have the right wisdom, if you have the right knowledge, and you drive the right vehicle, that can be attained. What
do you recommend to your clients as far as the number one way to invest? Do you like the stock market? Do you like IRAs? What is it? I know everybody's different, but
right.
What do you basically kind of stand behind?
Well, I'm not opposed to the market. I don't deal with stocks or mutual funds, but at the same time, I'm not opposed to it. We use what we call a rule of 100. Okay, you take the number 100 and subtract your age. We have what we call red money and we have green money. Red money is your investment money, monies that you put into the market. Green money is monies that you put into savings that are conservative vehicles. So you take the number 100, subtract your age from that, and whatever that number is the percentage that you should only have sitting in the red money accounts. The rest goes into the green money accounts because that's monies that you want to rely on when you retire and even when you are in retirement to help supplement what you're receiving from Social Security and other investments that you have.
You think Social Security will be around in 20 years?
I don't have a crystal ball. If I were to say yes or no, some people will hold your feet to the fire on it. But here's the thing, is that even if it's not, if you're sitting in the right type of vehicle with the right type of planning, Social Security is not going to make a difference for you if you take the money that you have right now and put it in a proper vehicle.
And one of the other things that we need to acknowledge, of course, is that Mark is a pastor. And tell us a little bit about your church and where it's at.
We're located in Prairieville. The name of our church is Harvest Christian Church. And we just moved into we moved into a new facility about 3 years ago. We planted that church, and we're bivocational, so we felt the call of God to plant that church and then set a pastor in order in that church to take it forward. And we continue to work our business because we use our business to help fund the kingdom as far as missions work, local churches, and different projects that we do throughout the community.
So, as a financial person, what's your thoughts on tithing?
Well, I believe that tithing is part of what the Scripture says. I don't feel like that you should be under bondage when it comes to your tithe. I think that if you are giving in your tithes with a free and liberal heart, then God's going to bless you. If you are someone that says, well, man, I got to sit down and write out this tithe check, I really don't want to do it, I tell people then don't do it, because you're not giving with a free heart. You're not giving with a giving heart, and God wants you to be a cheerful giver.
That's true. But I've always found if you tithe first, that your life seems to turn around and everything works out for you better.
Absolutely. We have faithfully tithed and given offerings in our own personal lives, and we do teach that. I don't want people to do something that they're not willing to do free from their heart, because if they do that, then they get into a bondage. And God's grace and mercy is there for our lives. And I don't want people to be in a religious bondage. I want them to give freely out of their hearts.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about local investment opportunities. Have you looked at the Baton Rouge area as far as maybe the movie industry or some of these other large firms as far as their stocks and options? Is there anything really good happening in Baton Rouge that people could get behind financially that you think would be a good investment? Well,
with the movie industry, like with the Celtic Center, you have different movies that are coming in. And matter of fact, my wife has a business inside the Celtic Center there. So there's a lot of good things that are coming into Baton Rouge that people could take a look at as far as industry-wise. And I think it's important that we invest into our local economy, because it's going to help everybody as a whole and keep our numbers up.
Right, that's true. Baton Rouge itself has had a lot of growth in the past, especially after Katrina. I take it you've been in the area all this time. What was the number one driving factor after Katrina that boosted the economy in Baton Rouge? Was it just the people? Or was there a lot of jobs created for those people? I mean, you had a large influx, I being a new person to the area. Tell me a little bit how that really helped or hurt the financial picture in Baton Rouge.
Well, I think it helped it substantially, because you had a lot of construction that needed to take place. You had different workers. I mean, you had debris cleanup. You had construction workers as far as helping with homes, doing roofing, siding, different things like that, especially in the construction area. That was a big boost that people got a shot in the arm through.
All right. So in closing, what would be your best assessment for people at home with a couple of kids? They're in a career, they've been in it for 10 years, and they seem to not have any savings account really building up. Everything seems to be going to the college fund for the kids. What's the number one thing that you could tell them as far as in reassessing their value and where to put their investment, either in their home or where would you recommend them, so that in 10, 15 years they'll be a little better off?
I would encourage people to take their monies that they do have and place them in a conservative to moderate vehicle, in a vehicle that's not going to allow them to lose when there's the downside of the market. and there are products that you can do that with, and just continue to add to that as much as you possibly can throughout the year, so that over a course of time, we have a statement that we say moderate returns that never experience a loss will outperform a volatile market every single time. We use that phrase of, the story of the tortoise and the hare, and we all know who wins the race on that.
No doubt, no doubt. Appreciate you being with me on the show. Folks, I tell you what, we've got a lot to go over this particular show. I want you to be a guest on our show. If you've got something that'll make a better life for somebody in Baton Rouge, then I want you to send me an email. It's a real easy email. It's on the screen right now. It's called email me at WLFT.com. Also, we'd like you, if you like this show, or even if you don't, like us on Facebook. There's a lot of cool prizes coming up in the future, and the people who like us on Facebook will have a special opportunity to win tickets and meals and different things of that nature. Of course, as I promised, later on in the show, we'll have a trivia question to where you will be able to send in, tell us the answer to it, and qualify to win a $50 gift certificate for lunch at Ruth Chris Steakhouse right here in Baton Rouge. I'll tell you what, we may not have a lot of prizes, but the prizes are worth getting. So we want you to stay tuned and find out more about what's going on to make a better life. I'm Dr. Fry. I'll be back right after this commercial break from people who care about our show. Welcome back to A Better Life. I'm Dr. Fry, your host, and as you know, this show is dedicated to finding ways to make a better life for the people here in Baton Rouge. Well, if you want to be a guest on this show, I'll remind you again, the email address is on the bottom of the screen. We would love to hear from you if you've got an idea to make a better life for everyone in this town. We want to put you on TV and talk to you. So email me at WLFT.com. And of course, like us on Facebook. We'd appreciate that. With me is a man that I met just about 6 months ago. Very impressed with this young man. I tell you what, I think a lot of you will probably recognize him, but there's a few people that stand out in this little community that I've been visiting for the last year and a half. And this guy I really liked. He seemed to know what's going on. He knows especially about the history of this particular area, and he stays with the pulse of what's going on that will affect your life. So I thought he'd be a good guest to have on A Better Life, especially in the political season. Also, he's a newspaper editor too, so we'll find out about that. Welcome to the show, Woody Jenkins.
Thank you, Dr. Fry. It's great to be with you.
I've always been impressed with what you do, and of course I drove by your house a million times. I'm not going to tell everybody where it's at. I'm going, who in the world's place is that? Nice place, I tell you. That's a sweetheart place. But tell us a little bit about yourself. For the people that don't know who you are, I know probably everybody does, but just give us a little background about yourself.
Well, Dr. Fry, I grew up in Baton Rouge and lived here all my life. It's been a great place to grow up and live, and been in media, in radio, TV, and in the newspaper business. Went to LSU, to journalism, and then law school. And had the unusual opportunity at a very young age to be elected to the legislature and served in the Louisiana House of Representatives for 28 years representing Baton Rouge So, but today, what I'm doing is being editor of the Central City News, which is we've been operating for 8 years, serving the people of Central, and recently have launched a new newspaper, the Capital City News. So that's been a lot of fun, and providing a community newspaper to the people of Baton Rouge. And this year also, wearing a different hat because of the election, I decided to accept a position as chairman of the Republican Party in East Baton Rouge Parish. So we've been working for some affirmative improvements in how to have a better life in Baton Rouge, because I do think our lifestyle in Baton Rouge is under attack right now, and we need to find some ways to improve it.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll do the newspapers another time when you come on the show, but I would encourage people to pick up a copy of Central City. I read the Central City News over there, and everybody I talked to in the little town of Central, we've went to some of the businesses there, really like your paper. And now Capital City News, I believe what you call it.
Yes, that's correct.
It's just taken off, but I encourage everyone, if you want to find out what's going on.
Thank you.
And maybe we can talk to you later about maybe having a little television show about the newspapers.
Well, that'd be
too.
great. That'd be
Talking
great.
about politics, local races, let's start with the one that you feel is probably the most important, that is going to affect everyone's life, whether it's better or good. Which race is it?
Well, of course, it's president. We have the election for president and vice president, and I'll tell you, I don't know that there's ever been a time where I was as eager to vote as I am in this election. I want to, like if you went to the carnival and you had the big mallet where you could see how strong you are and just pound it, and then if you hit it hard enough it would go up and it would ring. That's what I want to do on this vote for president, because I feel like our country is under attack and we have to make a change, and it affects our traditional values, our national defense, our taxes, our spending, the debt we're creating for future generations. And so I'm eager to go in and vote. And of course, I'm personally going to be obviously supporting Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan as president and vice president. Here in Baton Rouge, we have a very interesting race for mayor president with the incumbent Kip Holden, who's a Democrat, two independent candidates running, Steve Meyer and Gordon Meese, and then Mike Walker. It's going to be a race that is going to be probably decided by turnout. Kip Holden is hoping that I think enough people will come out supporting Obama that will help him. Mike Walker seems to be doing very well. I think he has a real shot. From a political analysis standpoint, what's helping Holden is you probably have about 25% of white voters who are supporting Holden. And so Mike Walker's task is really to try to get more black voters and white voters away from Holden in order to have enough either to force a runoff or to win in the first primary. The other big race on the ballot would be the Louisiana Supreme Court. Our Chief Justice, Kitty Kimball, who represents the Baton Rouge area and is the longest serving justice. She's the Chief Justice. So she's retiring a little bit early, and this has caused us to have a special election. And there are 8 candidates running, and I have to say there are 8 outstanding candidates running. 5 are Republicans. And so there's a hot race for that.
Seem to be a lot of people want that position.
Well, it's a good position. I mean, the Louisiana Supreme Court is divided. You find that there's usually 3 liberals and 3 conservatives, and then the swing vote, which is what this would be. So this election here could swing things either way. We have 5 Republicans running, outstanding candidates, and I think any of the Republicans probably would swing the court more on the conservative side. Our party has endorsed Tony Hickenbotham and Tim Kelly, 2 outstanding local judges, and there are also some other outstanding Republican judges. Plus you have Judge John Michael Guidry, who's the Democratic candidate. He's outstanding too. So this is a very important race, though, because the future of our state court and the state court system is really at stake.
Mm-hmm. It definitely has been a very active political season, that mudslinging. What's your take on, I mean, we just saw Kip come out just the other day saying, I want my opponent's ad pulled, or one of them was angry at the other. We're seeing it all the way up the ladder, though. Is this the way politics has to be done?
I don't believe in the mudslinging. It's a terrible thing, and it's an attempt usually to get the voters' eyes off the real issues. How often do you really have the voters hear from the candidates about the real issues, things like what your economic policy is going to be, or what your policy is going to be on national defense, or foreign policy. No, we hear all of these attacks trying to slam and smear some other candidate and dredge up something from the far distant past to make that the big issue. And generally, when you don't have the arguments on your side, you attack. And negative campaigning, unfortunately, works because people are not as well informed as they should be, and so they listen to the negatives instead of demanding the actual facts in the election. So it all goes back to the voters. If voters would demand that these candidates pull down all the negative ads, you wouldn't see the ads happen. But instead, voters are influenced at the margin. You know, the swing voters are often the ones influenced by these negative attacks. But it's a terrible thing in politics, and it's one of the reasons that good people don't want to get into politics, is because they'll be smeared, they'll be attacked and ruined a lot of times, particularly at the last minute in the campaign.
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about PAC money. Plus, we're going to talk about how you're going to win dinner at Ruth Chris, at least $50 toward your dinner at Ruth Chris, by answering a question about the history of Baton Rouge. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Woody. Hello, I'm Dr. Fry. Welcome back to A Better Life. With me on the set, of course, is Woody Jenkins, a person that all of you probably know. We're going to talk about some more politics. First one I want to jump into, though, is about PAC money. What's your personal view on the PAC money and the impact that it's had on the different races?
Well, you know, the PAC laws have changed a lot because of a U.S. Supreme Court decision, and now it's possible to have these super PACs. And in some cases, they're able to raise money without limits and also to raise money anonymously. So this puts a whole new dimension on politics. Instead of full disclosure of everything, we see the large PACs, some not disclosing anything. There's also another aspect that's very disturbing about what's going on. You see it with President Obama, where you only have to report federal contributions if they're $200 or more. And a huge portion of his contributions are under $200, and there's allocations that a great deal of this money is coming from foreign contributions. An awful lot of the contributions do not have zip codes attached to them. So there's big money involved. Some of that big money involves these super PACs, but also even in the presidential campaign with President Obama, we have a question of whether this money is illegal. It's coming in possibly from foreign nationals and overseas.
So is there anything in the PAC that says that you can't accept contributions from foreign countries?
Well, right. You cannot, under federal law, an American citizen abroad could contribute, but a foreign citizen living abroad cannot contribute.
But a foreign company that has a business in America can do it through that.
Well, corporations are not allowed to contribute under federal law. Now, they can contribute in state races, but a corporation, foreign or domestic, is not allowed to contribute in federal races.
Well, now we know a little bit more background about that. It's going to be an interesting election. Main thing is we want people to get out and vote.
Absolutely. And you know, if you sit on the sidelines in this election, I think you'll sit on the sidelines in every election. If you're a real American, if you care about all the people who fought and died to give us this free country, you'll take the time and vote, because there's never been a greater contrast between these two candidates, between Obama and Romney. So I hope everyone listening to this program will take the time to vote. I voted today, and I voted by mail, and it was a simple little thing of making with a pencil mark a little circle but I felt very good to know that I had done my duty and voted for not only president and mayor president, Supreme Court, and all the other races on the ballot. So please, please take the time and trouble to vote.
Yep, and I'm still registered in South Carolina, and we've already voted, so it's nice to have that. All right, one quick question. I'll give you 30 seconds to answer this. How can people, or what do you recommend to people that want to get into politics? Because you have been in politics, you've held public office. What is the first step if somebody is wanting to really make a difference and have a better life? What do you recommend as far as starting?
Well, I think the first thing is to educate yourself on the issues, on our history of our country, on what you believe spiritually. It's important to really know something and to have something to offer. This is not the student council where you're running just to get your name in lights or something. This is a way to serve, so you need to be prepared to serve. So life experiences, owning a business, working, serving others, and then you have to analyze yourself and say, why do I really want to serve? Is it really to help other people and help our community? If that's the kind of thing, then it's well motivated. If it's for power, if it's for money, I hope you'll do something else.
Right. No doubt. Woody, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Dr. Fry.
I certainly appreciate it.
It's a
Stay there
pleasure.
while we try and give away something. Folks, it's time to win a $50 gift certificate to Ruth Chris Steakhouse right here in Baton Rouge. And the question, which Woody happened to have a view at a while ago, thinks it's way too simple. So I told
Very
him
easy, Dr.
He
Fry.
could write next week's. There we go. But what company that's made the biggest impact on Baton Rouge? What's the name of the company and what year did they start here in Baton Rouge? Now, this is how you're going to win. You're going to email your answer to iwin@wlft.com. That's all you got to do. Put down the name of the company and the year it was started here in Baton Rouge. We'll take all the winners with the people with the right answers. We'll draw out and we'll give away a $50 gift certificate on the next show, and we'll announce it right here.
Can I give them a hint, Dr. Fry?
No, you cannot.
Just one hint. North Baton Rouge. Think North Baton Rouge.
Think North Baton Rouge.
Think North
Okay,
Baton
there
Rouge.
you go. There's your one hint. Think North Baton Rouge. Thank you for watching the premiere edition of A Better Life. I'm Dr. Fry. Remember, have a better life, especially through Christ.